There are a couple reasons that you might want to have movement in your audition, particularly the movement that they wrote in the script. Producers don't really want to have to use their imagination in this. A lot of times they're choosing actors on their lunch break, it's going to shoot tomorrow. The more they can picture just, again, putting you through hair and makeup, plopping you on set, it's going to make it easier for them to hire you. So sometimes that movement that they know is going to be there will make it more lifelike for them. Personally, now that I've gotten more comfortable moving in my auditions, I used to just sit, do the whole thing really still. It makes it a lot more fun for me and a lot more real because I have a lot of things to do. I have some business maybe, some things that I can do while I'm sitting there. Before, I was just sitting and staring at a person the whole time, which is not what we do in life. So having those things made it feel more real to me, which makes it look more real to the audience. In an audition room, you usually just have a chair and a reader and nothing else. So you really have to create some things so that it makes sense, because otherwise we get the sense, oh, we're watching a good actor do a good audition, not, wow, we're watching this character actually experience this thing. A little bit of movement can make it much more realistic. Now, if you're trying to figure out how much you can move in an actual audition, remember that they're in a close-up. A lot of times the casting director might be reading with you and running camera, and there's not going to be anybody else in the room. You don't want to have to get them to follow you with the camera, so you want to keep it pretty small. I like to look down at my feet and figure out where my square of movement is. Let me show you. Now, as you can see, I take one step forward, one step back, and one step in either direction. I know that this is kind of my block in which I can use, so every little thing I do is not going to go further than this. So how do you do it? Can you bring props to your audition? That's really kind of frowned upon. However, anything that would be on your body is not considered a prop, and they really kind of let it go. They don't really pay attention to that. So that might be a backpack, a purse, earrings, a cell phone, a bottle of water, a pen, sometimes a compact to look at yourself. Those are all things that you can kind of get away with. I love to use clothing, maybe just taking off a cardigan, putting it back on. Those are all things that can make it more realistic. So don't forget to think about those things that you do bring in with you. A lot of times that's kind of the only thing that you're gonna have. However, my favorite thing to use is my paper. When you have your sides, your paper can be anything. I could be handing you something important. I could be looking at the gift. I could be hanging a picture on the wall. These are all things that are totally fine and actually let me do a real action rather than miming or handing, which is kind of distracting and also a lot harder for me as an actor. It's easy for me to actually hand you something than try to hand you air. Let me show you what I mean. I just talked about punching someone. This is a time where your paper can come in really handy. Now I know if I'm being framed for an audition, it's probably here to here. So now you get a pretty good idea of what this frame's gonna be like in your audition. Now sometimes in sitcom they go looser, but you can bet that if it's drama, they're really gonna wanna get your close up. So let's say that I have to punch someone. Let me show you how I would do it. I'm gonna put my paper right about here, which is just below frame, and I'm gonna punch it for real. Now in my audition, it's gonna look like I punched somebody. There's not somebody's face there, but if I go and I punch the air, now it looks fake. So I can punch for real, I just can't actually punch a person. And then afterwards, did that hurt? Ooh, I need to know. What is the thing that happens after? Those are two things I can do for real. Let's say you have to pick up an object. That's pretty easy too. I'm gonna take my paper. Oh, what is that? That's simple. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you about rehearsing for your audition is in your house, get that actual item out. If you're supposed to be folding laundry, get out some laundry. Do the actual thing where you're running it. You're gonna get that muscle memory. You're gonna get used to actually doing something while you're trying to remember your lines. And then when you go into the audition, it's not gonna be a big deal. You're gonna have that moment. It's gonna be real for you, and you're still gonna be able to talk the whole time. Make sure that the first time you do it is not in your actual audition. Trust me, it's not a great idea. Now let's say I need to hug someone. There are a couple of options. I can reach out as if I'm gonna hug you. That's real, right? That's how it works. Now you're not there, but I could still hug. It might still look nice in my audition if I'm like, come here. The person was missing, but I did exactly what I would be doing. If you're on my close-up, you might not even be seeing that other person in the shot anyway. So kissing always freaks people out. I get that. What are you supposed to do if the character's supposed to kiss in a scene? A lot of times these are the climaxes of the film. They're gonna be the audition scenes, so how do you handle it? The only thing that is missing is that person. That doesn't mean that you're gonna kiss the air, but you very much might know what it feels like to begin to kiss someone, to have just been kissed, and you're gonna do both of those things 100%.